In regards to the title of this film, Eyes Wide Shut is said to be a code phrase used by members of high society that translates roughly into, "You have not seen any of my misdeeds, because your eyes are wide shut." This allows such people to run amok above and beyond all laws, and without the threat of ever being caught. We see this happen time and time again in our lives, where if one of us broke the law, we would be dealt with in a prompt manner. However, we see on the news and read in the newspapers and news magazines, where globalist figures are constantly walking away from serious crimes without so much as a slap on the wrist. This immediately calls into question the corruption of all levels of law enforcement and the judiciary, where justice can indeed be purchased if the price is right. A fitting example of this was the January 8, 2006 motorcycle accident involving Arnold Schwarzenegger, who at the time of the accident did not have a valid California motorcycle license. There is no excuse for this, especially as he has lived in California for many years. However, he did not receive any citation for driving without a license, and was let go without so much as a warning. The USA Today article that is quoted in this essay states that no citations were given in the incident, even though he was riding without a valid motorcycle license. The police officer more than likely asked him for his autograph, and not proof of his having a valid California license to operate a motorcycle. Thus, we see that there are two sets of laws in this nation, one for the common man, and another set of laws for the chosen ones of the globalist Illuminati cabal. At the opening party at Victor Ziegler's house, Alice Harford meets up with and dances with a Hungarian man. The name of this character is Sander Savas. This character shares his name with the creator of the Church of Satan, Anton Sander Levy. This would be an accurate analogy, as members of the global elite are all dedicated to either Lucifer or Satan. Their religion has them believe that both Lucifer and Satan are good, and the God of the Christians has forsaken these so-called fallen angels, and is therefore an enemy God. This type of thinking is extremely twisted, and represents what some have called a satanic reversal. Evil is good, lies are truth, death is life, and darkness is light. Alice Harford with Sander Savas. Please note that the lighted flowers on the back wall are actually pentagrams. Here, we have a scene in which a holiday Christmas party is played out, with much more symbolism below the surface. As Sander Savas attempts to hit on Alice Harford, we see that there are some attractive lighted flowers that are hung upon the back wall of the ballroom, where the partygoers are drinking and dancing. But upon closer inspection, one finds that they are not flowers at all, but pentagrams. This is a very unusual holiday design element, and it does not match my own experience at any of the parties I had personally attended over the years, or have decorated my own home for the holidays as an adult. The pentagram, or five-pointed star, has special meaning for those who practice magic and other occult disciplines. It relates to the four classical elements of earth, Gaia, air, water, Hyder, and fire, Heil, heat, and a fifth element of spirit, idea herein, a divine thing. The usual way of displaying a pentagram is with 1 point up and 2 points down. However, those who are Satanists display this symbol upside down, with 2 points upward and 1 point downward, as can be seen in the Women's Freemasonic Organization Order of the Eastern Star. If the reader looks closely, the 5-letter word of F-A-T-A-L can be seen along the edges of the inner pentagonal area. It is highly unlikely that the typical viewer of this film would know, or even understand this to be true. The order claims that Fatal stands for fairest among thousands, altogether lovely. Using one form of numerology, Fatal is the equivalent of the number 13, which is one of the Illuminati's favorite numbers. For instance, in the tarot, the 13th card is the Death card. And, in heraldry and the symbolism of coats of arms, the number 13 is related to death of the established order and the beginning of a new age. The true reason why the number 13, and specifically the unlucky Friday the 13th, is considered negative is because of the events of Friday, October 13th, 1307. At dawn on that day, the Templar Knights were to be seized and arrested by the King of France, Philip IV. This is a story that is historically correct, but not taught in any school curriculum, because to do so would reveal the importance of the order. After all, they were subjected to an order by the King of France. In order to draw that much ire, the group had to have been important. The use of the pentagram goes all the way back to ancient Babylon and Greece, dating back to about 3500 to 3000 BC. During this ancient time, the pentagram was a sign used by royalty, meaning that their power and influence would travel to the four corners of the earth. During medieval times, the pentagram was used as protection against evil entities, where it was worn by people, as well as placed over doors and windows, to protect the homestead. The Celts called it an endless knot, and for them, it was a symbol representing truth. Painted on the shield of a knight, the pentagram represented the 5 virtues of generosity, courtesy, chastity, chivalry, and piety. The pentagram is also a Christian symbol representing the 5 winds of Christ. In Pythagorean mathematics, the pentalpha, as they called it, was a symbol representing the perfection of man. The pentagram contains the sacred geometrical concept known as the golden mean. Perhaps most interestingly, the pentagram, with 1 point facing up, was a Druidic symbol for summer, and with 2 points up, or an inverted pentagram, symbolized winter. The inverted pentagram, used as a symbol of non-Christian belief, was introduced and first used by Eliphas Levi, an infamous priest and occultist who lived in the years 1810 to 1875. Levi, his real name was Alphonse Louis Constant, was also the source of the Baphomet drawing, and the goat of Mendes glyph. The pentacle, which is a disc representing the element of earth, is also related to this symbolism, and is very important to these people. A pentacle is usually made of wood, and is one of the 4 major tarot suits. Since all common decks of playing cards are based upon the tarot, the pentacle suit represents and is equal to the suit of diamonds, the sword suit is equal to the suit of spades, the wand suit is equal to the suit of clubs, and the cup suit is equal to the suit of hearts. At the Christmas party at the beginning of Eyes Wide Shut, while his wife Alice is being hit on by Sander Savist, Dr. Harford is being led away by 2 gorgeous model types. He asks where they are leading him, to which they reply, to the end of the rainbow. One of the young ladies then asks Dr. Harford, "Don't you want to go to where the rainbow ends?" To which he replies, "That all depends where that is." Here, we have a very subtle reference to mind control. In the various books and videotape lectures on mind control that I possess in my personal reference library, they all refer to the Wizard of Oz as a tool used for triggering mind control programs in the minds of his victims. In the 1996 book by Fritz Springmeier and former Illuminati member Cisco Wheeler, The Illuminati Formula Used to Create an Undetectable Total Mind-Controlled Slave, there is an entire section on how fiction is used in mind control. The book's discussion includes The Wizard of Oz and Alice Through the Looking Glass, both of which are discussed in this essay. However, Springmeier and Wheeler also discuss Star Trek and Star Wars, which have been used for this purpose as well. Such mind control was developed and perfected by the German psychologists that had infiltrated the CIA in Project Paperclip. And the techniques learned and developed through the MK Ultra program are still in use today, where they are largely implemented through the television, Hollywood feature films, and the popular culture of the nascent 21st century. Here is a small sampling of the numerous parallels between the occult and the story of the Wizard of Oz. Books in 1939 film M. Dorothy's 3 companions, the Scarecrow, Brain, Tin Man, Heart, and Cowardly Lion, Courage, represent the mental, emotional, and physical bodies that H.P. Blavatsky wrote about in her theosophical poem entitled There Is a Road.
There is no danger that dauntless courage cannot conquer, Lion. There is no trial that spotless purity cannot pass through, Tin Man. There is no difficulty that strong intellect cannot surmount, Scarecrow.
One other interesting bit of Eyes Wide Shut trivia is that the small daughter of Dr. Bill and Alice Harford is named Helena, after Helena Petrovna Blavatsky. For those unfamiliar with CIA mind control programming, it is done with children beginning at a very early age, from as early as 4 years old. Because these children are so young, children's stories and fairy tales are used. Among those used are The Wizard of Oz, Alice Through the Looking Glass, Grimm's Fairy Tales, and a 1950 Harper and Row book entitled The Tall Book of Make-Believe, which was written by Jane Warner and illustrated by Garth Williams. The basis of mind control programming is to instill loyalty to the Illuminati, fear if they should ever think about leaving, as some have done, and perhaps most importantly, that they obey the orders they are given, whenever or by whom they happen to be given. The methodology used by the high-level programmers of the Illuminati is based in trauma. This is done for two reasons. It creates a disassociated state in the victim, and this is so the programming and the codes, keys, and triggers can be more easily implemented. The second reason is because trauma creates a psychotic break, which results in multiple personality disorder, as well as the highest level of suggestibility in the mind of the victim. Remember that I am talking about children under the age of 6 when I talk about trauma-based mind control. However, this mind control is an ongoing process that occurs throughout the entire life of the mind control victim. Because I am talking about The Wizard of Oz here in this essay, allow me to briefly focus on how this story and its film are used for mind control programming. Both positive and negative reinforcement are used, which furthers the foundational programming. Children are first traumatized through a number of repugnant actions, such as physical, emotional, mental, or sexual abuse. The child is taught that things are never what they seem, and the behavior of the programmer, which is often the child's parent, is deliberately mixed up, so that from one moment to the next, the child never knows what to expect: a hug, a sexual assault, or a beating. To further this programming, an individual who is known to be gregarious and charismatic will turn into a frightfully mean person when they are home behind closed doors. The child is taught that loyalty to the Illuminati supersedes any other responsibility, and when they perform their tasks correctly, they are lavished with praise and positive reinforcement. The child is told they are special and are one of the chosen ones, and they are told that the New World Order is to help save humanity from its own ignorance and stupidity. These, of course, are lies. They'll learn the truth when they are much older, but by then, the programming is laid in so thick that they feel powerless to do anything but obey the orders as they are received. Here are some of the references to mind control in The Wizard of Oz. In The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy's home state of Kansas is shown in black and white, dull colors, which represent something undesirable to the subconscious mind of the children, who wants to be a part of something dull and boring. Reality is downplayed, and make-believe is encouraged, especially with today's realistic video games, a few of which have been dedicated to New World Order and Illuminati themes. Oz appears to be exciting, with its unique, for 1939, presentation in color. It is a place of adventure, and the yellow brick road itself is a not-too-subtle reference to golden wealth and success. Mind control slaves programmed under the Wizard of Oz system are told to always follow the yellow brick road. The yellow brick road symbol is associated with compliance, travel, and a goal to be achieved. It is adapted to fit in with the differing circumstances of the individual. For example, if a person were in a career that required them to drive a NASCAR race car, the yellow brick road might be the track upon which the individual races. But, if that same person were a politician, the yellow brick road might be the overall agenda that needs to be gradually put into place. No matter how bleak or difficult things become, they are told to remain on that yellow brick road. The 7-colored rainbow is used as a hypnotic device. Douglas Monroe, in his book of Druidic Magic, describes the rainbow in the following manner.
The rainbow is a true sign of magic. It exists in both worlds at once.
And what two worlds was Monroe talking about? He was talking about the physical and spiritual realms. The command of both are needed to carry out successful magical acts. Children are told that they do not have a brain, just like the scarecrow. Perhaps they are told that they do not have a heart like the Tin Man. Some children are found to have no courage, so they are involved with the cowardly lion as a central theme of their programming. Once they are told that they lack something, the focus of their life becomes finding and integrating what was found to be lacking or lost. The 1939 film The Wizard of Oz contains some interesting connections to mind control. Elvira Gulch is set to own half of the land in the entire county, where Dorothy Gale lives with her Aunt Em and Uncle Henry. When Elvira Gulch shows up as the Wicked Witch later on in the film, this parallels the real-life activities of those in the Illuminati, where they quite literally lead double lives. In my own experience of personally knowing people in the Illuminati, I have found that a person's cover story is often quite different from the real story of their behind-the-scenes life and activities. For example, a businessman in the Illuminati may be lauded by the media as a genius in business, when in reality, what created the success were the closed-ended Illuminati connections, the no-bid contracts, the preferential treatment, and the ability to successfully get the account, even while others outside of the group never get past the secretary. Professor Marvel uses a crystal ball that he states was used by the priests of Isis. Isis and her brother husband Osiris are the two primary deities of ancient Egyptian religion and folklore. Dorothy, Tin Man, Cowardly Lion, and the Scarecrow must prove themselves worthy to receive the wizard's benevolence. The occult world is full of rituals, where the candidate must prove themselves to be worthy of a special knowledge called illumination. There are several scenes in the movie The Wizard of Oz that show transference of power through a witch giving her slippers to someone. The film also shows that Dorothy needs to have on her special ruby slippers in order to travel over the rainbow to get to Oz. When older Illuminati witch is ready to die, a special ceremony is carried out, in which the elderly witch passes on her power to a suitable replacement. This ceremony also involves the passing on of the witch's slippers to the up-and-coming witch who was selected as her replacement. The costume shop that Dr. Bill Harford visits is called Rainbow Fashions. The shop below is called Under the Rainbow. This is an allusion to the power behind the power, as the rainbow is a symbol of transcendence and ascension. It was while visiting this costume shop, Rainbow Fashions, that Dr. Bill Harford empowers himself, which ultimately leads to his getting inside the ritual that was taking place behind the cloak of mystery.